Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is December 25th. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Taking a look at the infrared satellite imagery. You can clearly see this plume of moisture way back across the Pacific Ocean. This has been launched at us. We've been watching it for several days now, and we are going to have some interesting mid-latitude cyclone development along this boundary right here for the next couple of days, bringing some high winds across the region, big waves, and we got mountain snows as well. And let's dive into all those details here as we go through the video this morning. You can see Seattle and the update. That looks like they're talking about the winds here. They don't have any wind advisories up for the Puget Sound just yet, but that's something that may need to be issued here as we go on in towards tomorrow morning. I'll show you all the details on that as we look at the weather models. We got wind advisories, and things are going to get windy if they're not already across some of the region here today. So I don't want to downplay that at all, but we have the stronger storm coming tomorrow morning, and then yet another potent system here across Pacific Northwest as we go on in through December 27th, very early in the morning also. So if we take a look, for example, Snoqualmie Pass, you can see as we go through the day today, there is some snow accumulating as we go through the afternoon and the evening hours. So, prepare for some lengthy travel delays potentially across some of Snoqualmie Pass as we go through today. If you're traveling back and forth across the pass, and of course, Stevens Pass is going to be a higher pass there as well. So I would expect snow accumulation at times. So let the plows do their job and whatnot. And then you can see other areas like at Mount Baker getting some nice snowfall as we go through the day today. Hurricane Ridge also, yeah. So then there's White Pass also down at the very bottom. Now taking a look, Portland, Oregon, and no wind advisories yet, but this is probably going to be needed also. You could even justify some high wind watches here coming up because there is a very potent storm, two of them like I talked about, and we have high wind warnings already for some of the coastal areas. You can see the winter weather advisory, we got hydrologic outlooks, and yeah, all kinds of stuff going on here across the region. So Spokane, look at Stevens Pass here, December 25th through 27th. That's today here through the next couple of days after Christmas, 18 to 24 inches. Look at Wenatchee getting a bit of snow. Wilbur 2 to 3. Spokane, you might see some snow flying there as well, mainly north of I-90, but Highway 2, definitely better chances. Challenging travel over the mountain passes here over the next couple of days. You can see Lookout Pass 6 to 8 inches here as well. So if we take a little bit further out towards the Idaho Panhandle quickly, western Montana, Thursday is when things start to get ramped up. You can see the moderate impacts for these mountain snows and some of the pass areas, and some mixed precipitation at times in the valleys. Boise, Idaho checking down there. You can see still the winter storm watch is in effect. This is for the higher terrain. Does not include Boise or Mountain Home, for example. Burns, Oregon is right there. Now, I talked about this last night. Deviation in track is going to have some high-end implications. Where these lows track exactly, they tend to bring their strongest winds right on the southern side of that low pressure, strongest pressure gradient, strongest pressure rise. So we're really watching the track, but we are getting some better model agreement. I'm going to start showing you that here in a moment. But first things first, big jet stream extended all the way across Pacific Ocean. This is why we're getting this active weather. And you can see as we go through the morning, the 26th, that little area right there, that's storm number 1. This is going to pack a wallop, and storm number 2 is right there on the 27th. And again, this upper level jet stream support, very supportive of strong storms moving into the area, and then additional storms after that as we go through the end of the year. We'll worry about those here later. Now, taking a look at 18,000 feet, I mean, look at this supercharged stream of air rolling north of the Hawaiian Islands at 18,000 feet. And some of these speeds are, well up towards 160 miles per hour, even at 18,000 feet. So again, you can kind of see that initial system there Thursday morning. That's tomorrow morning, day after Christmas, and then the 27th. So we got back-to-back very strong storms approaching here, and these are taking the track where they could bring some high winds to interior areas, and we're talking about populated regions such as Portland, the Willamette Valley, and some of Seattle, and big winds here for the coastal areas at times also. So I'm going to start on that here in a moment, but quickly looking at the atmospheric river, I just like to show this one off. You can kind of see these systems just moving our direction, but that's the one coming in right now. And for tomorrow morning, the first one spins up, and then the secondary one right there. Now, taking a look at the European, this one is hot off the presses. So last night, the Europeans started to agree with the very strong low approaching our coastline. And relatively speaking, this is a pretty downright nasty low, 979 millibars, starting to get pretty close. And it's a good thing looking, it's weakening a little bit before it makes landfall right into Vancouver Island and clipping the northwest portion of Washington. Look at this pressure gradient across the Puget Sound. Very close to getting some of this bent back occlusion, strong pressure rise action right up the Puget Sound here with this low pressure system. We really got to watch this one tomorrow morning. That could bring some high winds potentially into the Puget Sound. And of course, you don't have to tell you what that would mean across some of the San Juans, northwest interior, Bellingham. Big pressure rise, strong winds. So we'll look at those speeds here in a moment, but look what it's got in store for the next day, the 27th. This is just an insane pressure gradient. You're talking about a 982 millibar low making landfall somewhere just south of Astoria near Seaside. And look at this, 1008. What's 18 plus 8? 26 millibars along the Oregon coast. That is upper level stuff there, folks. That is a blast and a half. Huge winds up the Willamette Valley potentially with that. And of course, if this track were to deviate a little bit north, that would start to include places like Olympia, Tacoma, and Seattle in a savage wind gust here, if a savage period of winds as we go through Friday morning. Then we got additional systems after that, as if we don't have enough to worry about, we continue to bring some storms across the region through the weekend. What does the GFS have to say? Well, you can see we're getting that model agreement. Look at that 981 beast right off our coastline there, and a pretty solid pressure gradient. I mean, you're talking about 12 millibars Seattle, Portland. That starts to get some alarms raised. Then we got the 27th. Again, pretty good agreement on that storm system there as well. But yeah, we have to watch these ones really closely here, folks. It's almost time to start sounding some alarms, just because the potential of this, it might be too late for some people. You know how that goes. A lot of people don't check the weather every 6 hours like us weather nerds, let's just say. Now, taking a look at the North American model. So here we go, and you can see, again, the strong low approaching here. It's actually a little bit weaker what the GFS and the European are showing now, but still a very intense pressure gradient here. A nice pressure rise up the Puget Sound. Some strong winds across the northwest interior. And then the next storm, kind of interestingly, it does not have it nearly as strong as the European and the GFS. The thing that makes me nervous about that storm is that the European has been on to this deep low, moving right into the northwest Oregon coastline, and it has been steadfast with that. And you have a hard time, if you're a meteorologist, just ignoring outright the European's solution when the GFS continues to show something similar. But we'll break that one down here, as we go through tomorrow also. So yeah, I mean, we've got so much going on that it's hard to keep up, but we're just doing our best. Now, looking at the European last night's run. So you can see this is just for today and this afternoon. Look at some of these wind gusts across the northwest interior. Are you kidding me? I mean, some of these places across the strait, the Sailor Sea, are getting gusts in excess of 60. And you can see very windy along the coastal areas too. Not bad today for Seattle. For Portland, some gusty winds there, maybe some 40s there across some of the southwest I-5 corridor up and down between Olympia and Olympia and Portland, sorry. And then as we go on in through tonight, you notice the winds along the coast really pick up. These are very substantial wind gusts here for some of the Oregon coast, because the European can really downplay some of these wind speeds. We're talking about gusts potentially 70 plus for the Oregon coast. And then look at this bent back occlusion right into the Washington coast. And again, it's probably downplaying some of the speeds that would impact Ocean Shores, Westport, maybe Long Beach. And then look at Olympia. By this time, it's gusting 50 miles per hour by about 4 a.m. tomorrow. And look at this savage shot of wind come through the Puget Sound. This would need high wind warnings here for the region. I mean, you're talking 54, even higher for North Seattle up towards Everett. And look at the savage surge southwesterly here coming through the strait. Up into Bellingham towards southwest BC. You can't rule out the wind getting up there as well. But yeah, we really got to watch that. That is a dangerous track. And I mean, look at the Willamette Valley on the first storm also. You're getting some 50 plus mile per hour gusts. So much to show here. It's hard to keep up. But the next storm comes rolling in, and look at this, another big surge. And look at some of these winds there. That is serious wind for Portland. You're talking about out of the south and the southwest, some wind gusts up towards 60 miles per hour. That would be significant damage in the Willamette Valley. And then I don't have to tell you that these wind speeds would be introduced north if that track were to come in a little bit further north. And who knows, this low could come in deeper than what it's forecast right now as well. So all things we have to watch as the storm system is unfolding. And we looked at the North American, so we're going to look at the European and some of this wind speeds here, 100-meter wind speeds. And again, this is just for today. Northwest interior, San Juan, Sailor Sea, you're getting quite windy. And this extends down across Whidbey Island, those gusty winds. But then look at this coastal jet form as we go through tonight. Oregon coast, and look at that bent back occlusion come rolling through here, and look at this savage surge of wind through some of the Puget Sound. That's why it's showing those huge gusts for areas like Seattle. So again, the timing of this is very late tonight through early tomorrow morning across the region here. Seattle, watch out. And then the next storm system comes rolling in here. Look at that beast. That is a classic Willamette Valley blow here if we get this on the morning of the 27th. Just absolutely savage high winds up the Willamette Valley if this were to verify. So I might be overdoing things a little bit here depending on the track of these lows and where they set up. And if they come in a little bit weaker, it's not going to be nearly as big a deal. But I want to make you aware of the potential of these two storms coming up. Now, if we look at the Canadian model here, high resolution, this is for the day today. I mean, you're talking 60 plus for the San Juans here, and some of Whidbey Island gusting up over 50. Then the coastal jet forms, Oregon coast, pretty good agreement there. And what does this system do? You can see it's bent back, moving right towards maybe Cape Disappointment there. And look at that savage surge. Again, that would need high wind warnings here for some of the Puget Sound. That would do some significant tree damage. If you start gusting up towards 60 across some of the Puget Sound here, and you get these gusts over 50, that would do some damage. So yeah, kind of interesting track right there into the Seattle metro, and then it doesn't quite go out to the 27th, I don't think, so we don't get to look at that next low just yet. If we look at the HER, again, the low coming in here, you can kind of see it. Look at this right here. That doesn't weaken much. In fact, you can see there's a parent low up to the northwest, but look at this 987 right there. That would be kind of a nasty scenario here where, again, we're watching for some high wind potential through some of the Puget Sound locally. And then if we go out far enough, do we get to look at the next storm there as well? Again, like the North American 3 kilometer, doesn't have it as strong as what the European and the GFS. We'll have to revisit that again tomorrow. Now, a Canadian here, let's take a look what it says. There's the initial storm, very close to what the European is showing. Just an absolute beast off our coastline as we go through the night tonight and into tomorrow morning. And again, a savage wind surge and perhaps bent back occlusion kind of coming through the Puget Sound. A modified bent back occlusion, but still very strong. And then the next system, you can see it's packing a punch with it as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the wrap. I scrolled this one out. Let me scroll it back here. And again, you can kind of see that. Look at this pressure gradient. Here's this 988 millibar lows across the northern Puget Sound. Very strong pressure gradient on the south side of that. This is for tomorrow morning. And as I scroll through there, we'll look off towards the next storm as well. And yeah, that one's packing a punch here too as well. So still a lot to be looking at here. But I just want to give everybody a heads up on the potential coming up. Quileute, you can see first storm, second storm here. There's Bowerman, Hoquiam. Look at that, 70 in the latest control. The European model likely underdoing that even a little bit. And then the next storm, again, if this low tracks just south of Hoquiam, you're going to get much lighter winds versus if it tracks a little bit further north, you're going to be exposed to some of these extremely savage gusts. Look at this 74, 72, 69, 73 on the European. Big hit and miss storm right there. And Astoria, same thing. I mean, look at that 87 on control on Ensemble member number 15 there, with the first storm bringing 50 plus mile per hour gusts. Also, there's Portland, 44. That's not bad. Could cause some tree damage. But look at that control run for the 27th, the morning, 55 miles per hour. That would be problematic. And here we go. Tillamook, big winds up and down the coastline, both storms. Seattle, Tacoma, 51 first storm, and you can kind of see the mishmash of some very high gusts if this storm were to track north on the 27th the morning. But look at some of these solutions in here. This has definitely been upgrading on this run. Look at 67, 58, 60, 62, 66, 53, 61, 55. These are definitely problematic up the Puget Sound. I mean, you're talking about 66 and that one, 61. And a lot of these now showing 40 plus, and there's a lot of 48, 50 plus gusts there also. Then there's the secondary storm also, depending on the track of that one. This is Eugene, 45 and 51. Those are problematic winds up the Willamette Valley, no doubt. Southwest Regional Airport there. This is on the Oregon coast. You know, strong winds. We're expecting that. Salem, also 53. Look at that, 59 in the latest control run of the European for this morning, for the morning storm on the 27th. And Bend, Eastern Oregon is going to get on the action as well. You can see some gusts 50 plus there also. So also precipitation, I'm just going to scroll through this quickly because it's fairly evenly spread out, but we are getting several decent rounds of precipitation. So we're probably going to be setting the stage for some landslides, localized landslides here across the region. We're going to be dumping a bunch of rain as we go through the upcoming time period. If we go out towards the the night of the 30th there, you're adding, some places the Willamette Valley, 4 or 5, 3+ inches of rain, coastal areas also. But the heaviest is going to fall across from the southwest Oregon over the next few days. Now, wave heights also, just want to kind of show that the waves are still very energetic on the coastline there as we go through the day today. Another big set through tonight into tomorrow, and additional rounds of wave activity as we go through the upcoming weekend before maybe we start to get a break towards the end of the year. No promises on that just yet. But yeah, so much to talk about here. I am flying out today to the Hawaiian Islands, and I am not looking forward to this because I know there is going to be some moderate to severe turbulence wrapped up in that. So, wish me luck. Let's just say it's a huge speed shear, and just this is going to be kind of wild here. But at least I'm prepared for it. So we'll see how this goes. No doubt a strong headwind too, increasing flight times to get out to the Hawaiian Islands. But anyway, be ready for tomorrow morning and the morning of the 27th. And if nothing happens or if the winds are light, consider yourself lucky because these storm systems have some higher end impact here for winds like we have not seen across some of the Puget Sound and the Willamette Valley yet this year. I know coastal regions are able to handle this much more. They're much more used to it. Even the Northwest interior is much more used to this stuff. But if we get one of these savage pressure rises or bent back occlusions across the Willamette Valley or the Puget Sound, it is going to cause damage and tree damage and perhaps significant power outages. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up here. I will do my normal briefings every single day. I'm taking my show on the road like I always do. So I'll be with you throughout the entire storm. No worries on that. Otherwise, what else? Click like and subscribe. We will do this all again probably tomorrow morning, and we will see what is unfolding and what is upon us. And I will talk to you guys then.